Bienvenue à Paris. In this video, we'll cover food, travel tips, and more. Did you know coca vin translates to rooster in wine? But first, a peek into our process.
We've curated an extensive list of foods for you to try, where to sample street food, and covering all travel tips, history, and more. In our countless hours of research, several late nights, and early mornings, we've made sure that you're getting only the best in our ultimate guide.
Paris isn't just a feast for the eyes, it's a paradise for your taste buds too. From mouth-watering street food to classic French cuisine, the city offers a culinary adventure like no other.
Let's start with something simple, yet iconic. The French baguette. A true Parisian baguette is crisp on the outside and airy on the inside, with a flavor that's been perfected over centuries.
Another must-try is the croissant, a buttery, flaky pastry that's become a symbol of French breakfast. What makes a croissant so special is its layers. Each bite reveals a delicate balance of crispness and softness.
David tried making croissant once. It was so labor-intensive.
Escargots or snails cook in garlic butter. The snails are tender and the garlic butter is so delicious that you will find yourself mopping it up with bread.
Croque au vin, as mentioned earlier, is a classic Parisian dish that's as comforting as it is flavorful. The chicken is slow cooked in red wine, mushrooms, onions, and bacon, resulting in a rich, savory stew.
The key to a great coq au vin is the wine. Burgundy is often used, adding depth to the dish.
For a taste of true French luxury, there's foie gras, a rich and creamy delicacy made from the liver of a duck or goose. It's often served as pâté with toast or brioche and is a staple of French haute cuisine.
Ratatouille isn't just a cute animated movie, it's also a delicious vegetable stew that is specialty in Paris. Made with zucchini, eggplant, tomatoes, onions, and bell peppers, all simmered in olive oil and herbs. This dish is a celebration of fresh, seasonal produce.
No visit to Paris would be complete without trying their French onion soup. This comforting dish is made with caramelized onions, beef broth, and a topping of melted cheese and toasted bread. I'm a fan of the way the cheese gets all gooey and stringy.
I love the deep, sweet flavors of the onions. It's a dish that warms the soul and is a staple of Parisian bistros.
Whether sweet or savory, crepes are a must-try in Paris. I completely adore the versatility of them. They can be filled with anything from Nutella and bananas to ham and cheese.
Steak frites is a dish that's as Parisian as it gets. A juicy steak served with a heaping side of crispy French fries. The key to a great steak frites is the quality of the meat and the perfect cook on the fries. Golden and crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside.
Most definitely try the beef bourguignon. It's a rich beef stew that originated in Burgundy but is loved and served all over France.
A savory tart filled with eggs, cream, and bacon, quiche Lorraine is a dish that's both simple and delicious. I just love how the pastry crust is flaky and buttery, while the filling is rich and custardy.
You just can't talk about France without mentioning wine. Paris offers an endless variety of wines from every corner of the country, from the bold reds of Bordeaux to the crisp whites of Alsace.
My favorite is champagne, a sparkling wine that's synonymous with celebration and is perfect for toasting your Parisian adventure.
Pastis is an anise-flavored spirit that's popular in France, particularly in the south, but it's also enjoyed here in Paris. It's typically served with water, which turns it a milky color, and it is sipped slowly as an aperitif.
The cafe culture in Paris is legendary, and no visit is complete without indulging in a strong, aromatic French coffee. Whether you prefer an espresso, a café au latte, or a noisette, enjoying a coffee in a Parisian cafe is a quintessential experience.
While Paris is known for its elegant dining, the city also has a thriving street food scene. One of the best places to sample street food is at the Marché des Enfants Rouges, the oldest covered market in Paris.
Here you can find everything from crepes to Moroccan tagines, all made fresh and ready to enjoy on the go.
Le Grand Colbert is a renowned Parisian brasserie that has been captivating diners since 1900. Nestled in the heart of the city's historic quarter, this iconic establishment combines retro charm with traditional French cuisine.
Indulge in classic French dishes prepared to perfection. From hearty steak frites to delicate seafood platters, the menu offers a range of options to suit every taste. Now I know you're wanting travel tips, but first a little history.
As you meander through the charming streets of Paris, you can't help but feel the weight of history beneath your feet. Can you believe that people have been living here for over 2,000 years?
Oui, Stephanie. Paris has seen it all, from its humble beginnings as a Celtic settlement called Lutetia, to become at the heart of the French Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment.
You listen, captivated, as he regales you with tales of the city's past. The rise of the Frankish kings, the turbulent Middle Ages, and the grandeur of Louis XIV's reign all come to life in his words.
You can almost see the ghosts of revolutionaries storming the Bastille and hear the echoes of Napoleon's army marching through the streets.
As you continue your Parisian adventure, you find yourselves in the heart of the Latin Quarter, surrounded by bookshops and bustling cafes. The intellectual energy in the area is palpable, and you can't help but feel a little smarter just by osmosis.
Did you know this area has been a center of learning for centuries? Sorbonne, one of the oldest universities in the world, was founded here in 1253.
Wow, that's older than the entire country of the USA.
Indeed, France has a long history of valuing education and the arts. It's part of what shaped the country's identity.
From Hemingway to Bouvier, it's like a who's who of literature.
Oui, Paris has always been a magnet for creatives and intellectuals. It's one of the reasons the city became known as the City of Lights during the Age of Enlightenment.
Wait, I thought it was because of all the street lamps.
That's a common misconception. It's actually about the spread of ideas and knowledge. Though the beautiful lights at night certainly doesn't hurt.
And today, France is a champion of human rights, liberty, equality, and fraternity. While not perfect, the country is trying, and that counts for something.
Paris is dense, and I'm not talking just about the population. I mean, sure, you got over 20,000 people per square kilometer, but it's the diversity that really makes it interesting. As we wandered through the city, you can't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. It was like stepping into a movie scene. Paris has been the backdrop for countless films and TV shows, from classic romances to thrilling adventures.
One of my personal favorites is the movie Amélie. I just burst with excitement every time I think about it.
Café des Deux Moulins has been the backdrop where the whimsical story of Amélie unfolds.
David, what about Midnight in Paris?
You mean where Owen Wilson's character wandered through the city at night and get whisked away into different eras, meaning Hemingway, Picasso, and Fitzgerald?
Yes.
You can almost hear the music playing as you walk along the Seine.
The movie isn't just a love letter to Paris. It's a reminder that the city has inspired some of the greatest artists and thinkers.
And let's not forget Inception, where Leonardo DiCaprio character literally bends Paris into his will in a mind-bending sequence that's as iconic as it is dizzying.
You do start to wonder if the city is actually capable of folding in on itself.
Don't forget the Da Vinci Code. They filmed scenes right here inside the Louvre.
OMG, I love Tom Hanks in that role. He's such a natural.
Stephanie is super anxious to talk about the TV shows. We both fell in love with Emily in Paris, It's a popular Netflix show that follows Emily Cooper, a young American woman who moves to Paris for a new job opportunity.
The show is a cute romantic comedy that explores themes of culture shock, friendship, and love.
But let's take a moment to talk about the people who made Paris what it is. You're in the city that has given the world some of its most famous and influential figures.
Oh, let's start with Coco Chanel, the queen of fashion. She revolutionized the way we think about style. You can almost imagine her walking these very streets, redefining elegance with every step.
Then there's Victor Hugo, the literary giant behind Les Miserables and The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
And let's not forget Edith Piaf, the voice of Paris. I love to hum a few bars of her La Vie en Rose, and you can almost hear her iconic voice echoing through the narrow streets.
Then there's Marie Curie, the trailblazing scientist who made groundbreaking discoveries in radioactivity and becomes the first woman to win a Nobel Prize.
And of course, there's Gustave Eiffel, the engineer behind that little iron tower you might have heard of.
The Eiffel Tower wasn't always beloved. It was actually criticized when it first built. But now, it's the ultimate symbol of Paris and of daring to dream big.
Très bien, David. Superstar Kylian Mbappé, both born and raised in Paris, is known for his exceptional speed, dribbling skills, and clinical finishing. He's consistently impressed fans and critics alike.
And the artists, Claude Monet, Edgar Degas, they all call Paris home. They drew inspiration from the city, and in turn, they inspired the world.
Alright, listen up, travelers. Paris can be a magical place, but it can also be a beast. So let's talk travel tips. The do's, the don'ts, and the oh my god please don'ts.
Indeed, Paris is not for the faint heart, but with a little know-how, you'll be navigating these streets like a pro.
Paris isn't just a city to see, it's a city to experience. And the best way to do that? Walk a lot.
Totally agree, as she's snapping pictures of every charming doorway and street musician along the way.
One of the biggest mistakes visitors make is rushing through Paris. Slow your roll. Parisians don't gulp their coffee, they sip it.
Take the same approach with the city itself. Spend an afternoon lounging in the park, people watching at a cafe, or simply wandering with no destination in mind.
The magic of Paris is in the moments you didn't plan for.
Parisian weather can be unpredictable, sunny one moment, drizzling the next. Don't be like us getting caught up in the rain. Having an umbrella will save you some trouble during your exploration.
And a scarf is a must. Scarves are a fashion statement in Paris. So many styles and ways to tie it. And now for the do's and the don'ts.
Do greet people properly. In Paris, a proper greeting goes a long way. Always start with a friendly bonjour when you enter a shop or even when asking for directions.
Do dress the part. Paris is the fashion capital of the world, and while you don't need to dress like you're on a runway, putting a little effort into your appearance is appreciated and you'll fit in better with the crowds.
Do explore beyond the tourist spots. Sure, the Eiffel Tower is a must-see, but Paris has so much more to offer.
We highly encourage you to wander off the beaten path. Discover the charm of smaller neighborhoods like Canal Saint-Martin or the quiet beauty of Parc des Beaux-Champs.
Oh, here's the big one. Don't touch the produce at markets unless you're buying it. The vendors will select the best items for you.
Don't assume everyone speaks English. While many Parisians do, it's best not to assume. I've learned that starting a conversation in French, even if it's just a simple phrase, is received much better and is much more polite.
Don't expect 24/7 service. Paris isn't Chicago, and things don't run 24/7 here. Shop closes for lunch, business shut down on Sundays, and dinner happens later than you might be used to.
Don't overtip. In Paris, service is usually included in your restaurant bill, so there's no need to leave a large tip. Rounding up the bill or leaving a few extra euro for exceptional service is appreciated but not expected.
Don't be impatient. Parisians value their time and space, and rushing them won't get you anywhere. Whether you're waiting for your coffee, a taxi, or to check at a restaurant, patience is key.
Here's an Explorer Pro Tip. Many museums are free on the first Sunday of each month, but get there early to beat the crowds.
Paris isn't just a city you visit, it's a place you get to know, layer by layer, secret by secret. The city is home to one remaining windmill that actually still works.
Moulin de la Gayette was once a favorite spot for the Impressionist painters, and while it's now part of a private residence, you can still see it standing tall in Montmartre.
Did you know that Paris has a smaller replica of the Statue of Liberty? It's on the Ile aux Cygnes in the Seine.
No way! I thought that was just a New York thing.
French is the official language, but there's also regional languages like the Breton and Occitan. They're part of the French cultural heritage.
Hey, speaking of culture, I noticed people kissing each other on the cheeks a lot. What's that about?
Ah, la bise. It's our traditional greeting. The number of kisses varies depending on the region. In Paris, it's usually 2.
And what about money? I'm still confused about those euros.
We've been using euros since 2002. Before that, we had francs.
Did you know the first public screening of a motion picture happened here in Paris in 1895? The Lumiere brothers invented cinema as we know it, along with the stethoscope, the hairdryer, the Braille system, and even the hot air balloon. But
Paris isn't all facts and figures. It's also a city of folklore and superstitions. Ever heard of gargoyles of Notre Dame? They're not just decorations, they're said to protect the cathedral from evil spirits.
And then there's this superstition about the Eiffel Tower. Some say that if you kiss under the tower at midnight, you'll stay in love forever. Quite the romantic notion, isn't it?
There's also a belief that if you can drive on the Arc de Triomphe 3 times without stopping, your wish will come true.
Let me guess. Most people's wish is to survive that crazy traffic.
Come on, Stephanie. Now let's talk about something really unique, the catacombs. It's an underground ossuary that holds the remaining of more than 6 million people. It's a bit morbid, sure, but it's also a fascinating glimpse into Paris' past.
So you've been charmed by Paris, and who wouldn't be? The city has a way of wrapping you up in its beauty, history, and irresistible je ne sais quoi. But now you're wondering, is Paris more than just a fantastic vacation spot?
Paris is undeniably an attractive option for expats and digital nomads. Imagine waking up to the sight of the Seine or taking your morning coffee in a cafe where writers and artists once found their inspirations. When it comes to retirement, Paris has a lot to offer. The city is rich in culture with world-class museums, theaters, and galleries that could keep you entertained for a lifetime. But it's not all croissants and lattes. Living in Paris, like anywhere else, comes with its challenges.
Paris is expensive. Rent, groceries, and everyday expenses can add up quickly, especially if you want to live in the more central, picturesque neighborhoods. As you sit by the Seine watching the sunset, you can't help but feel a deep connection to the city. Paris has a way of captivating you, pulling you into its rhythm, its stories, and its flavors.
You wander through twisted streets, taste the finest croissants, and sip wine in cozy bistros that feels like home. You marvel at the history woven into every building, every corner, every cafe.
So as you take one last look at the Eiffel Tower glittering against the night sky, you realize that Paris isn't just a destination. It's a journey. And whether you're here for a week, a year, or a lifetime, Paris will always be with you, just as you've become part of it.
We're not done with the French yet. Here's a sneak peek into our next destination, Martinique. So stay tuned. From beach vacation to lush rainforest, we got you covered. Ooh la la!